On the front kicks, front thrust kick to be exact, you're going to use your ball of your foot and go straight in or your target. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you the bad example first and then the good example. The bad example here is this. Now, what am I doing here? I'm relying on my leg to create the impact. Okay, this is what how most people create the power behind strikes. Now, what you're doing here is this action right here is the only part that's moving, that only part that's actually making any kind of impact here. Okay, so the more harder you try to kick, the more muscle you're going to need, because you have to push it out, and then you tend to have less impact here. And then when you want to get more power, what you're doing, you're basically fighting off this impact with the floor. So you're basically pushing him really fast, between the floor and your opponent. Now, this is the second way of doing it, okay? This is the other way. This one, it seems identical, possibly, but it's quite different on the inside. What I'm doing here is I'm moving my body weight, okay? And then all my leg is doing is flexing right here as I make the contact, so that all this momentum I created here transfers directly to the pad. The way you can tell if you're doing this type of kid or not is, well, first of all, the pad holder, this type of kid this way, you tend to feel more push, okay? Your pad digs in, but there's no heavy impact that goes through your whole body. Now, the other way, you tend to feel more on the whole body, and his whole body tends to fly back, regardless of how big the pad is. And two, when you're the kicker, with the second way, you can move pretty slow and still have a visible impact, as opposed to if I try to push and push slow, nothing happens. I do the other way, I'm kicking pretty slow, but there's quite a bit of impact there. Now, to do this, try to feel your weight shifting towards the target, and your knee just snaps right as it makes the contact. And then you're basically just transferring all the momentum you created here, and then try to pass it on to your opponent like this. I call this particular method or principle of making power a weight shift, because you're mostly using your weight to generate the power, as opposed to twisting your hip or using your leg muscles, okay? Now, a couple of different ways of doing it. One easy way is to do the kick as your hip shifts forward like this, and then snap here, so that your hip's moving forward this way. But you don't really generate nearly as much power this way. It's an improvement over the other method, or where you're just pushing out, but it's not nearly as much. The other way to use, I basically whip my body forward, okay, this way. And then I use this motion here, snap and stop. So, this way. Now again, if you're doing it right, you should be able to move slow and still have good impact, like so, okay? Now, the problem with this one is a lot of people have a harder time doing this method faster when they're trying to move fast, okay? Because they just start relying more and more on just the body extremities and not the whole body. So once you get the feel of this type of kick right here, try to learn to go faster, kick out, try to do all this necessary motion at the same time. So you're here, go, okay? So you still try to feel as much of this as possible and kick through as such. Okay? So don't try to fight the target with the floor and your leg. Like this, no good. Use this momentum here, your whole body's making the impact, and then your knee snaps right here to transfer all of that and create a sharper impact at the point of contact. That was not good. See? And also, it's very difficult to make any technique perfect, okay? I still screw up once every, 10 kicks or so. But what you're shooting for ultimately is having a, let's say, 100 is your best shot. You want to try to keep it consistent about 70 or 80%, okay? So that once you get good enough, not every kick may be your best, but most of them
are acceptable and pretty good speed